Siyabonga. That was the Soshanguve Philharmonic Choir. Thank you for those items. If Ben Manmele, when you're listening to the AU anthem, it speaks about Africa and the vision that we have for a continent here too. So as we celebrate who we are, it's also about building the type of country we want, but importantly also, the type of continent esifunayo. Ngizocela ukuthi ngoba siyazi ukuthi when you enter a home, you must be welcomed by the head of the home. So in Gauteng, we've got the head of our province, Premier Wetu, Premier David Makura, to give us a welcome.
Dumelang. Happy Heritage Day, happy. Happy Heritage Day, happy. Sanbonani. Dimasiare. Absheni. Lochani. Molweni. Ninjani mihlobo yam. Akonto. The President of the Republic of South Africa, His Excellency, President Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa. Let's welcome the President. Give him a big round of applause. I want to hear you over there. Siyamthanda uPresident angithi. I want to acknowledge our Minister, Minister Nathi Mthethwa, who's the co-program director. Let's give the minister a big round of applause. And our MEC Mbali Hlophe. Let's give her a big round of applause. I also want to acknowledge MMC De Brain, who's representing the city of Tshwane. Let's give her a big round of applause. The chairperson of the House of Traditional Leaders, Nkosikazi Mhlawuli Anosandi. The chairperson of the Commission for Religious and Linguistic Commission, Professor David Musuma. Our ministers, MECs, and mayors from different cities, senior government officials, Your Excellencies, ambassadors and high commissioners, the cultural and creative workers of our country, the leaders of different cultural, linguistic, and religious organizations, including our traditional leaders, the people of our province, and the people of our country. Today, it's this important Heritage Day, which returns in the form it does here in our province on this bright and beautiful day. This day marks the reopening in a very significant way of both cultural and creative industries, and the return of the Gauteng Heritage Carnival. Le kae batho ba Carnival, ha re le boneng ba Carnival le ko kae? We want to see you, the youth from our schools, young people in our schools, the elders in our communities. We all want to see you. Welcome to Heritage Day. In our province, every Heritage Day we come together to celebrate our diversity in the form of filling the streets of our cities especially the streets of Tshwane, animating the streets of Tshwane with cultural optics of our diverse nation, all united in celebrating our complex and constantly evolving South African identity. Here in Gauteng province, as we celebrate this National Day with our president today, we say it has been 3 long years since we had the carnival in our province. It has been 3 long years since we had to showcase, as we usually do, our common cultural heritage and our unique identities. During the past 3 years, we know it was not possible to do what we are doing today. Firstly, in 2019, we could not have the carnival. And in 2020, 2021, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, it was difficult. The pandemic has profoundly disrupted our lives. And as a people, we are very happy today that we return to the streets of Tshwane in the way we do, with our children from our schools, dressed in the way they are, singing and dancing, people from the diverse ethnic, religious, and racial backgrounds in our province. In the best of days, our carnival had 40,000 people in the streets of Tshwane. We are returning with 6,000 people today, but we want to pack the streets again. September 2023, we should be more than the 6,000 we are today. We want to return, as the president said earlier when he reopened the carnival, we want to return to 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, and 60,000 people celebrating our diverse backgrounds and showcasing our unique identities and common heritage. As we gather today, there are those who are still out there in the street of Tshwane, dressed in their traditional attire, dancing and singing their music, and some have come back to join us. I also want to say today we celebrate the return in our province of the DSTV Delicious Food and Music Festival. So Gauteng is alive today. As we are here in the city of Tshwane, in Midrand, is the DSTV Food and Music Festival. I know in Centurion is also the aerospace, is the aviation show. So Mr. President, these activities mean a lot to our people. They're also about economic activity. The young people who are wearing these different attires, cultural and ethnic attires they are wearing this because this was made in the run-up to today by the people in the townships. By so doing, they have generated incomes and economic activities. Across the city, we have people selling food as well. Today, we have our artists and creatives are also singing here and performing. It's the return also to economic activity. Culture is economics. Culture is the soul of our nation. But culture helps us also to put bread on the table. So this helps us to also address the immediate issues of economic recovery. And this is very important for our nation, and it's also very important for our province. We are gathered here because our country and our province has a rich cultural history. We are a culturally diverse country, and we are a culturally diverse province. We are a microcosm of the world. We are the world in one. Yes, as an important country in the southern tip of our continent, we are also the cradle of humanity and the fountain of culture. What is more inspiring is that the diverse cultures we are showcasing here also cross-pollinate each other. In spite of many years of official apartheid policy to separate our people, but over years we have developed to appreciate and celebrate that we are united in our diversity. We are one people. And as a province of Gauteng, we display this through the carnival every year. Our cultural and creative industries, they come alive on this day. Minister Mthethwa, we are also happy that the theme of today's is about celebrating the legacy of Solomon Linda and South Africa's indigenous music. Babu Solomon Linda was yet another iconic South African, a true legend, with a towering talent in the idioms of indigenous music, composition, and his vocal prowess was something that shook the world. With his famous song, Uimbumbe, the work of a stunning beauty which has set the world on fire. Uimbumbe. It is on this occasion that we celebrate who we are. We celebrate our musicians. We celebrate our artists. We celebrate our people. And we do so in the capital city of our republic, here to get a message from our President Cyril Ramaphosa. Mr. President, I want you to know that we know you have the most difficult job in the republic. When there is no energy, we all look up to you. When we are angry with ESCOM, we look up to you, Mr. President. When there are no jobs, we look up to you, Mr. President. When there's crime in our communities, we look up to you, Mr. President. So you certainly have the toughest job in the republic. And we have confidence in you, Mr. President. You can see it here. We have confidence in you. We want you to know that you are having the full support of the people of Gauteng, as you see it here. Earlier today, you went to open the carnival. You saw our children are very, very happy to see you. But Mr. President, we need to say that our country can be the best it can be. That our country is a country of great dreams and great dreamers. And we have these celebrations. As we have these celebrations, we also pay tribute to those who came before, to our artists, to our legends. We also pay tributes to our freedom fighters. I want to conclude by saying we wish you great strength, Mr. President, and great wisdom as you lead our country. Our country is yearning for renewal, is yearning for recovery, is yearning for inclusive growth, is yearning for national unity, is yearning for social cohesion, is yearning for nation building. We are yearning for success. We are yearning for development. We are yearning for peace. We have confidence in you, as I said earlier on, to lead us out of this desert that we face now. We wish you well, Mr. President, and God bless you, and God bless South Africa. Thank you very much.
Siyabonga, Premier. I always have to adjust the microphone. So that our cultural item, a praise singer yetu, Busisiwe Mahlangu, if you can kindly come to the stage to entertain us.
Sanbanani. Ninjani? Ngiyaphila nami. No, thank you. Dumelang. Le kae? Ah, le nna ke sharp. Mo Pitori re sharp. I'm so happy to be here. Greetings to the president, the premier, MEC, the minister. For the first time, I'll say all protocols observed. So this poem is titled Around a Fire, and it goes like this. Around a fire, a century breaks free to tell its tales, where the waters and the trees are alive. Izinganekwane zomandulo. Our histories that have made us who we are have come, birthed into our image. We are diverse, beautiful in many colors. We stand around a fire. A century breaks free to tell its stories to the sons and the daughters, to put skin back to bone, bone back to blood. No more burning until peace is as simple as stillness. Around a fire, Gogo calls us by name, carefully passes each letter through her teeth, taught us to never allow ourselves to be misnamed or renamed, never allowed to be misplaced. Gogo calls us by name. Usibiza ngezibongo njengembongi, ekhuluma ngathi uyalolozela, izwi lakhe lingumculo, ingoma engapheli. Namanje ngimuzwa esithi, zidle ngemvelaphi yami khomntanami, isiko lakho liyisipho esiphuma kubaphansi. Gogo calls us by our spirit, and we respond to the anointing. Runarima Afrika ridinaledi. Our elders call us to dance. Our ancestors call us to sing. Summons a lineage of ancestry to come and see that their children are still here, alive and majestic. Gogo calls us by name, and we respond to the anointing, and we respond to the calling. If we remember ourselves, we can fly. Do not forget. We can hold up the sky and make it rain. Ask Bolobedi about Queen Mujaji. We are made in nature, and the gold beneath this land also runs in our blood, endless. African child, you are made in magic.
Siyabonga Busisiwe. That was truly a beautiful item. She says, Gogo calls us by name, and we respond to the anointing. How powerful are those words? And it's because it is exactly that information and how who we are is transferred to us from one generation to the next. So when Gogo calls you by your name, receive the anointing. I'm going to request that we get, and we move straight to the messages of support. Bengcela uChairperson wethu with the National House of Traditional and Khoisan Leaders, Umam Mahlauli.
Enkosi Mbhexeshi wenkqubo. Najonga nilinde manje wathetha isilungu. Njani? Nani bantwana bam nifuna ndithethe isiNgesi? Nifuna ndithethe ntoni? Isintu. Ndizozama ukuhlanganisa ke ukwenzela into yoba nabanye abantu abazindwendwe zethu beve. Ndiyavuya xa nisitsho. Thank you, Program Director, wanamhlanje bayi-2. Namhlanje, we are here. Simenyiwe ngumongameli wezwe. Mongameli wezwe, Premier of the Gauteng Province, all ministers and deputies here, all government leaders, chairperson of the CRL Commission, our ambassadors who are here. We've got a lot of them present here around us. They are there in that tent. We have got an ambassador of Congo, Republic of Congo, Iraq, Georgia, Bulgaria, Turkey, Norwegian, and others. The cultural groups, including you, Bantwana Bam, enivuke nathali ilanga apha kusasa nizindwendwe ezibalulekileyo apha olu suku belungazibaluhle ningekho. The MNC for Community and Social Development. I also saw some of the deputy ministers, our musicians, the reason why you are here, traditional leaders led by the kingdoms who are here, religious sector, distinguished guests, bonke abemi boMzantsi Afrika molweni, dumelang, abshem. Ndizawuqala nje ngento ethi bantwana uculwa i-national anthem. Awuhambi awujikelezi ndinibone nihlisla nisenyuka fundisanani into yoba xa kuculwa Number 2, xa umuntu ethetha, listen to the other person enzela uba nawe akumamele xa uthetha. Niva abantwana bam? Today, to our different cultures, to help us respect and appreciate other cultures, as this project is important for the nation building. This Heritage Day, we are celebrating our indigenous music by reflecting on the legacy left by Solomon Linda, one of our great musicians who left a mark on the international stage through his music. We all know his greatest song of all times. I can I think President uyasiculela mayime apha imbube unobuyayazi ekhokhelwa ke nguminister lo ka-Arts and Culture. Siyive le ngoma sithetha ngayo, which became a hit and even today is still used in the movie industry among others. We all know the ill fate he suffered for this song and how his descendants had to fight for the right of Mr. Linda. Mr. President, we applaud the recognition and we believe it will encourage other musicians to see value in our own indigenous music. The institution of traditional leadership places the culture at the center of its existence, as we know that we are custodians of culture and customs as traditional leaders, ubukhosi. We are pleased that our government has seen the need to also place culture at the center of our people's lives. We are pleased that our democratic government recognizes the yearning of our people had to enjoy who we are. This is an opportunity to encourage people to embrace their cultures and values and traditions. Music is an integral to our lives as Africans. We sing when we are happy. We sing when we are sad. In fact, we sing on every occasion. Niyayazi siyacula mawunwabile naxa uhluphekile. Umculo wenza umsebenzi omninzi emntwini. Today, we reminiscence of the past, where after a day's hard work, we would sit around the fire. Sihlale ecaleni komlilo xa sikhathele, tell stories, sing songs when we are in a happy state, sipping on our umqombothi, utywala besintu emakhaya, sicula. We would break into song. Those who watched the media broadcast on our young men and women returning from customary initiation, niyababona mama ebuya engomeni, Niyazibona ingoma xa zicula phasi wonke umuntu uva erhalela uba khona phakathi kwaloo ngoma kuculwa sivuyela abantwana bethu bebuyile bebuya bephila. Those who watched the re-dance of Amazulu kingship, who have seen the young maidens break into song to celebrate umkhosi womhlanga, niyababona nabo xa bonwabile abantwana. Kodwa loo nto leyo indijongise eMzantsi Afrika apho aba bantwana sithi thina xa sibabuka kubekho ababajongela into benza izinto ezathu zibahlukumeze emongameli welizwe. Sikhuthaza into okokubana makukhusela abantwana bethu noomama kulo Mzantsi Afrika. Asikwazi into okokubana sonwabe sisithi sifuna uphuhliso kanti abantwana noomama abonwabanga elizweni. As the institution of traditional leadership, we are custodians of culture, and it is our collective responsibility, together with government, our key partners, and our community, to nurture this interest in indigenous music to our people, especially the youth. As the institution, we strive to enhance tradition and culture and promote indigenous knowledge, using ogogo nabantu abadala sisiva ezambali zabo into okokubana bona bebephila njani, zintoni into ezinokusincedisa naxa kwezi kukho izingxaki zeemeko zezulu. Music is a social cohesion tool. It brings people together, supporting the nation-building ideas. Music is a socio-economic tool. As besisitshiwo apha evuya upremier ukuthi siphinde saphakama kaloku kuba ezi zinto zenziwa umzekelo impahla ezinxitywayo zithungwa ngabantu bakwazi ufumana imali. Abanye abaculi bafumana imvumi zifumana imali ngalo mculo. Were not exploited or bogged like what happened to Solomon Maslang. We are proud of young men and women of the Ndlovu Youth Choir, who are also raising indigenous music to higher level. This should teach other young people to embrace our music. In addition, a program director, music is a key catalyst to tourism. Ngoba abantu kwendawo bandondola kuzo, the tourists, they are welcomed by the musicians in those areas. Music is educational, iyafundisa. We have many of our elders in traditional communities who know more about indigenous songs. Let us educate each other the sentiments behind our indigenous music, and in this regard, we will also learn more about ourselves. Isicathamia sethu esinebhongo ngaso niyasibona naso simane sikhuthaza sicula ukuvuselela imimoya wethu. Kube sinomama abadala pha amahotela Queens, abanye babo basaphila ngabantu ebebenze into okokubana sibe singabantu kweli lizwe. Music support active citizenry and healthy living through dance. Niyayazi into okokubana xa ucula ubonakala uthabatha inxaxheba ekubeni ngummi waloo ndawo uhlala kuyo, welo lizwe uhlala kuyo. Into ebalulekileyo into yobana uzibonakalise nawe ungwelo lizwe uhlala kuyo. In our African system, music often goes with dance, and we know that it's good for one's health. Xa udansa empilweni yakho uyaphila, uyafana nomuntu ojimayo. Xa sisenza dinaka, jikona, jikombela, jikumbu, sithaba, umxhenso, indlamu, mukhibo, and others. Mr. President, the National House will attend the South African Music Awards on the 1st of October. I wish to also appreciate this initiative as it is playing a key role in promoting and preserving our culture. Ndiyabulela mongameli, ndinqwenelela olu suku impumelelo kumntu wonke olapha. Niyazi into okokuba uMzantsi Afrika ngowethu sonke, siza kuwakha sonke bantwana. Nani niphulaphule enikucetyiswayo, nani bantu badala nazi into okokubana siphuma ku-COVID-19 asikaphumi kuyo, zisekhona iimpawu zayo. Siqinisekisa into yobana ke ngosiyaphakama silande sivuselele i-economy yalo Mzantsi Afrika. Enkosi mbhexeshi wenkqubo.
Siyabonga mama. Ngizocela uchairperson wethu we-CRL Commission, Prof Musoma, to come forward and also give a message yakhe support.
Dumelang ka moka, ke a leboga bogona jwa lena, nda cancer bokona bja ngwena eka siku leri ro hlawuleka swonghasi. Program Director, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of South Africa, Honorable Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, Honorable Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, Minister Nathi Mthethwa, all honorable ministers, deputies, and members of parliament here present, honorable premiers and all MECs present, honorable mayors and MMCs, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for inviting the CRL Rights Commission to be part of this fantastic Heritage Day in which we celebrate the cultural wealth of this great nation and also to give a message of support. The CRL Rights Commission was established by the Act of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. Its mandate, among other things, is to promote and develop peace, friendship, humanity, tolerance, and national unity among and within cultural, religious, and linguistic communities based on equality, non-discrimination, and free association. We are also mandated to foster respect, a highly sought after commodity and value among cultural, religious, and linguistic communities. More importantly, we are mandated to promote the rights of communities to develop their historically diminished heritages. Re filwe maatla a go lebella bokgwa jwa rena bjo bo latlhegago. Hi nyikiwe matimba ya ku kambisisa ku languta rifuwo ra hina leri ri lahlekaka. It is above this mentioned context, Mr. Program Director, that the object to promote the rights of communities to develop their heritages is an important part of this celebration. We must not forget that our forebears created the basis why we exist today and the kinds of gifts that we have. And therefore, the promotion of culture is at the center of it all. Why? Because heritage is a way of life. Heritage speaks about the totality of our being. Essentially, it defines our values, our spirituality, our dress, our dance, our music, how we construe and embrace the world, and pursue our scientific, technological innovations, and also our socio-economic advancement. So culture or heritage is broad. We must understand it in that way, that unless we encompass all of these, we are only focusing on one aspect of it. As we celebrate Heritage Day today, we should appreciate the significant role of language. Language plays an important role because it is through language that heritage is brought to life, especially when it comes to music and dance. For this reason, one does not celebrate indigenous music without first developing and appreciating or embracing language, because it is a medium through which music is expressed and communicated. This is so because in our communities and in our country, we are blessed with so many different languages, cultures, and religions. Judging from the success of his song, Mbube, it is safe to say that the essence of the musician, Mr. Solomon Linda, has used music as a creative weapon to defend the survival of indigenous music against the colonial onslaught, a tool for sustaining, popularizing, and even revitalizing an appreciation of isiZulu language. This goes to show all of us present here that the song is a profound product of emotional and heartfelt love for one's culture and commitment for one's heritage. It is for this reason that communities in our countries, wherever they are, must put more effort towards equal use of heritages and resuscitate what appears to be diminishing heritages in our communities in order to appreciate our diverse heritage that have been bestowed upon us. Why do we do this? Because we want to shape our moral fiber or moral compass of a nation we shall all be proud of. The nation that is poised at fostering and promoting respect for each other, tolerance for one another, and to inculcate a spirit of peace and cohesive society. A nation that defines itself in terms of the ethical principle of Ubuntu. It is for this reason, Program Director, that practicing and living our heritages every day, not single day, every day, will demonstrate our ability and capacity not only to preserve our heritage, but also as a means of dynamically and radically educate, conscientize, inform, transform our ways of life together. May this Heritage Day serve as a glue that holds us together as a nation, united in our diversity. I thank you.
Siyabonga, Prof. Musuma. I'm going to call Minister Wetu, Minister Mteto, who's going to give just a remark, a brief about the importance yalelanga namhlanje, and then he will introduce our keynote speaker, Esimzele, to come and listen to the wisdom and the words that he wants to share with us. Siyawabona ukuthi they are already waving, President. President Wetu will give us a keynote address here too after our minister. Minister Mtetwa.
Happy Heritage Day, happy. Happy Heritage Day, happy. Thank you very much, Sanbonani Mbingelelwe, Dumelang, Abshe. We are here today. The Premier has touched on the theme for today, celebrating the legacy of Solomon Linda and South Africa's indigenous music. Solomon Linda as a focal point, but the point is celebrating our own music as South Africa, celebrating our own culture as South Africa and part of the continent, Africa. It's a way of highlighting the plight of the creatives in this country. And for the government of the day, where we are saying we care for you. We know we come from a difficult period of COVID-19. We were not going to make any dent against COVID-19 had we not been assisted by the presidential economic stimulus program, President, your program. Thank you, Mongameli, on your PASP. Your PASP ensured that more than 800 million rands is invested, is given to the sector. And we know that it didn't reach everybody, but those who were able to be assisted felt the difference. So we are saying Solomon Linda is not just a South African. When we raise his name, we're not just raising a South African. We're raising somebody whose influence went far beyond the national borders of South Africa. Imbube, the song, Imbube, the genre, was able to be catapulted to the international stage. As you know, it transitioned to The Lion Sleeps Tonight, which is celebrated the world over. So we are saying that before we look to other side of things from other people's heritage, let us know our own heritage. Let us appreciate ourselves. Let us respect and love ourselves. Because if we love ourselves, other people are going to love us. Imbube Skatamia today is occupying the international stage thanks to Solomon Linda and others who came after him, like Lady Smith Black Mambazo, who today is respected, has been awarded 5 Grammy Awards through Iskatamia. It means that if we dedicate in what we have, other people are going to recognize that. It's not only Iskatamia, Maskandi itself has grown to the world stage. Our own youth came up with Kwaito in this country. It's South African. Today we're talking of Amapiano. It's South African. So it means we are a creative nation. And the president is going to be able to take us through and tell us and show us the way forward on this Heritage Month, on this Heritage Day. Mr. President, people are waiting. Izake mongameli uzokhuluma nesizwe. Abantu bakulindile la nasekhaya. Siyabonga, siyabulela. Thank you.
Dumelang. Sanibonani nonke. Inhlekani. Dimasiari. Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, Minister Natim Tetwa, your co-program director, ministers and deputy ministers who are here with us, Premier of Gauteng, Premier David Makura, Nkosikazi Mhlauli, the Chair of the Traditional Leaders Council, Professor Musoma, Chair of the Cultural and Religious Council, our nation's artists, whom today we celebrate, and all of you fellow South Africans. Heritage Day is always a good cause to celebrate. It is a day when we appreciate the rich, diverse, and common cultural heritage that makes us proudly South African. It is an opportunity for us to be who we are in our attires, in our beautiful attires, looking as beautiful and handsome as all of you are today. And sebahle. Nam food. It is an opportunity to invite friends, to relax, to be with family over a home-cooked traditional meal, and also an opportunity to play traditional music and to pay tribute to those who have come before us. Just as we celebrate where we have come from, we know that culture continues to evolve, to adapt, and it also continues to change. Just as our traditional dress has been adapted into modern fashion and contemporary music is infused with cultural strains, many South Africans today are wearing their very favorite colors and are gathering around a braai as we speak now. No matter our race, our ethnicity, our language or religion, there is no right or wrong way to observe Heritage Day. What matters most is that we are taking the time to celebrate our South Africanness. Days such as this also remind us that unity in diversity is indeed our greatest strength as a nation. At a time when so many parts of the world are being torn apart by division, by ethnicity, by nationalism, by language, by religion, we can, as South Africans, continue to hold our heads high and say we are united in our diversity. Yes, we may have our differences, and there are many, but when it comes down to it, we are South Africans first and foremost. The rest follows later. We respect one another. Rea thompana, siyahlonipana. re a thonipana, ont respecteer mekaar. We know that cultural pride and expression is never an excuse for chauvinism, for ideas of ethnic superiority, for tribalism, for thinking that one group is better than another. We also know that there is no room for xenophobia or for misogyny. This year, we are using Heritage Month to celebrate South African indigenous music. And in particular, we are using today, and indeed this month, to immerse ourselves in the knowledge, in the memory of one of the most outstanding legends of our music in South Africa, Babu Solomon Linda. We chose this theme to acknowledge the role that indigenous music, especially isicathamiya, played in the lives of our people during the dark days of apartheid and colonialism. Indigenous music didn't just entertain and comfort the dispossessed black majority, it also mobilized and united our people in the townships, in their various halls, in the marketplaces, in the beer halls, and open fields where groups like the Evening Birds, led by Solomon Linda, where they performed classics, outstanding musical pieces like Imbube, where places of great importance where political conversations happened about the state of our country. And because of its ability to bring people together, to unite them and to encourage discussion, our indigenous music helped to shape our present reality of a free and democratic society. Our artists use song and dance, as we heard, and as we saw uNkosikazi Mhlawuli demonstrating here. They use song and dance to transmit messages, most effectively in ways that conventional channels could not. We therefore have a moral responsibility to preserve this music and to protect those who created it, but also those who continue to create this music. Because we don't want the tragedy that befell Solomon Linda, to visit them. Though he composed and recorded many songs, Imbube was his best known one, which, as you know, was also featured in The Lion King. South Africa was still a British colony when difficult circumstances made him sell the rights to the song to a record company. It is said that it was sold just for 10 shillings. In today's currency, that would be $1 US. And many of us will agree that was daylight robbery. And because of that, he was able to create an outstanding musical piece that has helped to create a genre of music, isicathamiya. And as you heard, Minister Nathi Mthethwa relate that a number of other pieces of music genres have also originated from this, our land. And we as South Africans must be proud of this, because we have had great South Africans like Ubaba Solomon Linda, who created a song that has not only been played in great movies, but also has been played by a number of great stars internationally. And recently, we also had another song, Jerusalem, which spread around the world, which also saw many, many people around the world also dancing to it. So we've had great creations. We've had great composers like Ubaba uSolomon Linda. So this month, and particularly on this day, we pay tribute to Ubaba uSolomon Linda, but we also pay tribute to our artists, to our music artists, and many others who participate in many art forms, as well as poets, artists who draw pictures. This month, we say we honor you, we recognize you, we respect you, and we want you to succeed as our South African indigenous music artists. As the minister said, yes, we have had great difficulty in having occasions like this because of COVID. Much as COVID is not yet over, we're able to meet like this and showcase our cultures and celebrate Heritage Day, an important day in the life of our nation because it makes us remember the past, but it also makes us appreciate our diverseness, our cultures, our languages, our traditions, but it also enables us to look forward into the future. A future that at the moment, yes, is challenged by a number of things that are happening around the world, in our own country. Globally, we were gripped by the COVID-19 pandemic, a pandemic that killed well over 100,000 South Africans, a pandemic that is not yet over. It is still here with us, even though it is much less intensive than it was. Then we had the unrest of last year. Then we had loss of jobs. 2 million people lost their jobs, and the economy suffered greatly. And then we had the floods that devastated the livelihoods of many of our people. And then we also have had challenges of rising food prices, fuel prices, as a result of the conflict between Russia and Ukraine that is having an impact on us. And now we are going through the throes of an energy crisis, a crisis that has been with us for many years, and a crisis that we continue to make all efforts to address. But in the recent 2 weeks, we have been seeing rising load shedding completely disrupting our lives, our economy, and causing havoc from a social point of view, health point of view, and these are the challenges that we face. Even as we face these challenges, as South Africans, as we have done in the past, we have persevered. And I ask once again, let us persevere. The challenge is being addressed. It's a complex one, and we will be speaking soon about the various measures that we are taking to make sure that we address this challenge. Today, we should look at ourselves. We should look at ourselves as a nation and look at ourselves through the prism, through the eyes of our cultures, of our traditions, and for a moment, be able to honor those who have so enriched our lives, enriched our lives through what they do to bind this nation together, through song, through dance, through the arts. We know that our artists went through a very difficult time during COVID. And as Minister Mteta was saying, we made many efforts as well to support our artists, but we may not have spread the support as broadly and as widely as we should have. But where it was given, it was impactful. And we'd like to thank our artists for having stayed the course and for continuing to ensure that they don't only keep our people entertained, but they deepen the cultural heritage of our country. So today being Heritage Day, let us celebrate this day through expressing ourselves, through our clothing, our attire, through the indigenous food that we should enjoy, through also taking pride in our languages. Re bue dipuo tsa rona, re ikutlwe re le motlotlo ha re bua dipuo tsa rona, sikhulume amalimi ethu, siziqhenye ngokuthi yebo amalimi wethu asekhona, even though our past apartheid rulers tried to destroy our languages and also destroy our heritage. Hibula marimi aina, hitiba kuri hibanu, bala Afrika Zonga. Richard diba ure rine rivonyi, ribatu bafano Afrika Chipembe, rina mikwa yashu, rina maitele ashu, rina ndira dzine raita zwithu zwashu ngayo. Heli noni duba ndi duba labudi nga manda kha rine ri rothe bathu ba Afrika Tshipembe ri itele uri na hava batuku, the young ones in our nation, must see us celebrate our heritage, celebrate what has been handed to us by our forebears, knowing that, yes, we can preserve our cultures, we can preserve our languages, and we can preserve what has been handed down to us. I want to say to our artists as well, so that there is assurance that what happened to Ubaba, uSolomon Linda, should never happen again, because his descendants struggled a great deal to even get the benefits of his creativity. The new copyright amendment bill passed by the Parliament at the beginning of Heritage Month will go a long way in protecting our artists towards addressing their concerns about the collection and distribution of royalties. We are determined to use the law where necessary to preserve our cultural heritage. We will also defend and preserve our indigenous languages as well. We have paid specific attention to the Khoi and San languages. Today, we have candidates successfully submitting their master's dissertations and doctoral theses in African languages, irrespective of their field of study. This would not have been possible in the past. The incremental introduction of African languages policy in our schools is also having the desired impact, challenging the notion that knowledge of English is enough to progress in our society. We ought always to remind ourselves of the centrality of our heritage to the health of our nation's soul. While today we are shining the spotlight on our indigenous music and its legendary creators, our heritage is much more than just that. Our heritage is also the best version of ourselves that we seek to become. I am referring here, of course, to what also Professor Musoma spoke about, Ubuntu, which speaks of our innate spirit of generosity and human solidarity. It speaks of our compassion and kindness towards other people, especially those less fortunate and also those from foreign lands who have sought refuge here. As Minister Mteta was saying, we should respect ourselves first. We should look at ourselves with respect so that others can respect us. We are, as South Africans, a friendly and hospitable people, and it is inconsistent with our values to be xenophobic. I am proud that at many places of work, at schools and institutions, our brothers and sisters from other countries have joined the heritage celebrations. And as we heard from Nkosikazi Mhlawuli, there are other many nations that are here today. People from various countries have joined us to be part of our celebrations. And as Africans, we are people with a shared history and a common destiny. Among the most important values that define us as a people is our utmost respect for women and the elderly. The historical position of women in our traditional communities is a far cry from the present-day toxic notions that many men have of masculinity and patriarchal relations of power. In their wisdom, our forebears attach great power to positions of women in our family structures, such as Rakgadi, Datuwabo, Makazi, and the like. There is no part of heritage of any South African community that permits men to demean women or impose their will on women through violence. On this day, when we celebrate our heritage, we must look deep within ourselves and return to the positive values of our communities. By restoring the values that we celebrate on Heritage Day, we will put an end to the culture of rape and the scourge of gender-based violence and femicide. We will care for our children as we must never abuse the young children who are the future of our country. We will value and cherish abantu abadala, bokuku, and give them the respect they have earned through many years of hard work, sacrifice, and guidance to us. Parents will once again take responsibility for all children in their community and not look away in the face when they misbehave. Some people may ask, how can we celebrate our heritage at a time like this when we are going through hardships? Yes, as I said, we are going through a challenging period. We are a nation with heritage that is defined by struggle, by courage, by perseverance, by determination to overcome even the greatest challenge. And so let us call on this heritage as we confront the difficulties that confront our people and our nation. And I call on all of us to work together to implement all the various interventions that we need to implement. And in the end, let us fully embrace ourselves and one another. Let us embrace this rich tapestry of history and cultural heritage we have. For it is in our heritage that we have strength. Our heritage is our history. It is also our strength. To all South Africans, wherever you are, whatever you believe in, whatever language you speak, I say today, I wish you a very happy Heritage Day. Let us cherish this day. It is our day to respect our heritage, to embrace our heritage, to applaud our heritage, and more importantly, to embrace one another. And look at the person close to you and say, Happy Heritage Day. Thank you very much.
Siyabonga Mongameli wethu for those truly informative words. Nimzwile President. Uthi uPresident wethu